Sometimes, there isn't a worse enemy than your own heart. A rebellious heart.
Forget about her. She's married now.
She's not happy. I can't see her like this.
A guilty heart.
I can't take it anymore, Mama.
I'm sorry I forced you to marry Damien.
A determined heart.
I still love you. Let's run away.
But what about my children?
Lying heart.
He said that Isabella's future husband comes here to check up on the accounts every night, so it's possible we might see him.
But I should remind you, Isabella hates me, just like she hates you. Neither of us will get her shares.
I'll keep an eye on Miss Chin as well, to ensure that your plan will work.
Can someone tell me what I've done wrong? Why does everybody always get up on me?
我是建筑一座城堡，回房间去后就不再打扰。
Niamini, nitamakinika. Wasichana tepu yako nawaelewa vizuri sana.
We Safari, kazi yako nini kwenye hii nyumba ikiwa kutokuwa kwa ingia watu?
Ikiwa imekubidi, basi huna budi. Itikia wito.
Hapo mbona sasa anza kunitia hofu?
What is it this time? Kwa sisi tumechoka.
Nyota wangu.
Happy holidays. It's only 3 days left to the end of the year, the day being the 28th day of December 2021. Hope you are enjoying your festivities. It's time for a live and comprehensive news bulletin. Glad you could join us. My name is Njue. Byron Abuli will be our sign language interpreter for this live newscast. Welcome. To our top story now, we begin at Parliament buildings, where the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee is having a special sitting to look at the political parties amendment bill. And we first of all listen in before we have our news.
Because he's running in someone else's party all these years. But the Baba that you think is so strong now was a single member of parliament in his party in 1998. One person, one MP in National Assembly here. So next time, okay.
Okay, order. Did you?
Ochieng, 2B is dropped.
Yes, 2B is dropped. We want to make progress. The next clause. Honorable Koech is not present. He said he would be joining us. He has not come up to this time. Honorable Limo left. So that is the extent to the harmonization we have done to clause 8, isn't it? We move to the next clause. No, just a minute. You have another clause. No. Let's go by the procedure, the standards that have been set by the substantive chair. All right. Clause 10. Honorable Osotsi, Honorable Aden Duale, Didimas Baraza is not there. Then Osotsi is here. Kimani Chungwa and John Mutunga. Okay, so Honorable Osotsi.
Okay, Chair, I brought an amendment on clause 10.
Clause. I'm trying to get your amendment.
Page 15.
Clause 10. Clause 10.
Proceed.
Yes. Chair, I brought this amendment, which is very familiar to me. Amendment on the issues of expulsion of members. But because in the initial bill, it talks about the powers of parties to expel members based on the party constitution. So initially, my first thought was that that should be handled within the party constitution and the applicable laws. But Chair, having consulted widely and having also understood the issues, I think the Political Party Act is a product of the constitution of the country. So, in that case, Chair, I feel obliged to drop this amendment, because when you talk about the party constitution has various requirements on how a member is disciplined. And those requirements should tie into the rights in the constitution of the country. So on that understanding, and after wild consultation, and also from my experience in this area, I drop this amendment. And any other amendment, I think related to that, if you can allow me to save time, Chair. I had an amendment on 19. Yes.
No. Okay.
Indeed, those are live pictures from Parliament buildings, where the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee is having a special sitting there to discuss the political parties' amendment bill. And at least 8 MPs have shown interest in the amendments, and also the political parties' dispute tribunal is there, not to mention the office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Kevin Washira will be giving us a much detailed report on the same in our subsequent bulletin. In other news, public transport operators in Kisumu want the government to set up vaccination centers at various bus stops to increase uptake. The operators claim that long queues at various health facilities where the vaccines are offered are discouraging many who want the jab. As of December the 27th, just about 97,000 people have been fully vaccinated in Kisumu County against a target population of 656,147.
Announcement by the Ministry of Health barring unvaccinated people from accessing in-person government services or accessing social amenities may not necessarily drive Kenyans to get the jab. This is according to public transport operators in Kisumu, who believe that the long queues at various health facilities were discouraging. As such, the operators want the government to avail the vaccine at various points to increase uptake.
Inafaa hapa stage. Sasa walete hiyo machine. Watu ambao hawajachanjwa wachanjwe sahihi hiyo. Kama hujachanjwa unataka kupanda gari, uchanjwe ni upande gari.
Wangepeleka chanjo hata kwa manyumba ama mahali penye tuko na gathering, kama kwa gari mtu apate ndiye aingia, hiyo inaweza kuwa afadhali.
The operators also want the government to conduct more sensitization campaigns, since some Kenyans are still apprehensive of their known side effects.
Wengine hawajaweza kuamini ati hii ugonjwa iko. Wengine hawajaiona mtu live kama ako na hiyo ugonjwa, ndio sababu wengine unaona hawajavaa mask.
They should also bring that educations, so that if you had that negativity towards the vaccines or towards the virus, you should now people, because you can change people.
Our leaders wajaribu tu kuimisha watu kwa kuongeleza, sio kwa force.
kuongeleza vizuri tu hivi watapata kwamba kila mtu amepata chanjo.
In Kisumu County, with a target population of about 657,000 adults, just about 97,000 people have been fully vaccinated as of December 27, representing a mere 14.8%. For Lunchtime News, I am Wycliffe Okech.
And still on the COVID-19 pandemic, the world is grappling with tightening measures as the Omicron variant of the coronavirus continues sweeping through. More than 2,200 flights have been scrapped, with Chinese and US destinations being the worst hit. France has announced tighter restriction, and from 3rd of January, remote working will become compulsory for those who can, and public gatherings will be limited to 2,000 people for indoor events. The news comes as France recorded more than 100,000 new infections on Saturday, the highest number reported in the country since the pandemic began.
Has announced tighter COVID-19 restrictions amid concerns over the Omicron variant. From 3rd of January, remote working will become compulsory for those who can, and public gatherings will be limited to 2,000 people for indoor events. The news comes as France recorded more than 100,000 new infections on Saturday, the highest number reported in the country since the pandemic began. Apple has closed all of its 12 New York City stores to indoor shopping as cases of the Omicron variant surged across the United States, and customers will be able to pick up online orders at the stores. Elsewhere in Europe, additional restrictions were announced in Germany and Greece as governments seek to stem the tide of positive cases. Gatherings in Germany have been restricted, and gyms, swimming pools, and nightclubs and cinemas will be closed to the public in several states. Private gatherings of vaccinated people will also be limited to a maximum of 10. From 3rd of January, the Greek government will require bars and restaurants to close by midnight, and tables will be limited to 6 customers. Venues will also not be allowed to cater for standing customers, and if they do not comply, music will be banned in those establishments. Denmark, a country of 5.8 million people, currently has the world's highest infection rate, with 1,612 cases per 100,000 people. 7 deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours. It has closed down cultural attractions and limited opening hours in bars and restaurants in a bid to stem new infections. Both England and Scotland reported record cases over Christmas. Authorities in 223 countries and territories have reported about 281.4 million cases of COVID-19 and 5.4 million deaths since China reported its first case to the World Health Organization in December 2019. Purity Museo, Lunchtime News.
And in other news, residents of Mudara village in Njue, Kiambu County are living in fear of marauding hyenas from the nearby Kilimamboga forest that have so far killed 3 people this year. The latest victim is a 29-year-old man identified as Samuel Kangede, who was killed last night by hyenas that attacked him on his way home from a quarry he works at.
News of the tragic death of the neighbor literally in the canines of the killer hyenas. The killer park is said to have ambushed 29-year-old Samuel Kangede, who was in the company of his friend. The friend escaped unhurt.
Naishi na Kangede ni my neighbor. Alikuliwa jana usiku saa 1:45.
The lifeless body of Kangede was discovered by a villager who made the call to the relevant authorities. The residents expressed their disappointment following numerous calls to authorities for intervention, saying they have fallen on deaf ears.
Sasa ningeomba tu tuangalie hapo. Kwanza hapo pa wanyama tuangalie sana. Tuweze kuondolewa wanyama kabisa.
Tunataka kusaidiwa juu ya watoto wetu wanaumia huku. Hata kuna mwingine alikuliwa pale tu juzi.
The body was collected by the police and ferried to the morgue this morning. Kangede's death now brings the number of fatalities in the hands of killer hyenas in the area to 3. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, 3 people have been confirmed dead at Kipkaren area along Eldoret-Malaba Road after inhaling petrol fumes while attempting to siphon fuel from an overturned tanker. Firefighters from Uasin Gishu County were forced to use foam to clean the area to keep off those who were flocking the scene in numbers.
The tanker is said to have veered off the road while climbing the lane at Kipkaren area at around 7:30 last night.
Sijui ilishuwa pressure amelifanya nini. Ikafanya kama inashindwa kidogo. Alafu kidogo ikaanza kurudi nyuma. So tukujua kama itarudi iende mpaka kwa mtaro, lakini tukadhania maybe itafaulu iende. Karudi nyuma kidogo, ikarudi nyuma kidogo kufika pale. Ni kama ilishinda dereva kidogo kuicontrol. Alafu ikamlemea kabisa.
And as it is common with many similar incidents, the locals flocked to the scene to siphon fuel. But 3 of them were not lucky, dying after inhaling petroleum fumes. Lugari OCPD Bernard Ngungu, who confirmed the incident, said it was unfortunate that lives have been lost, while at the same time calling on the public to always stay away from accident scenes to avoid a repeat of the same. Among the dead included 22-year-old Dominic Koech, who had just graduated from Turbo Vocational Training College.
Kuambia watu mambo ya mafuta ikimwagika hata ikienda hii mtoni Kipkaren hakuna mwenye inamsaidia, lakini challenge ingewezekana ichotwe ni sawa kwa sababu haitatumika kwa mahali popote, lakini shida mafuta inaua.
But not even the death of the 3 seemed to have scared locals, who kept flocking the scene scrambling fuel. Firefighters from Uasin Gishu County had to use foam to dilute the fuel and keep locals off. Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Lunchtime News.
To the corridors of justice now, where a military officer and 3 Ugandan civilians have been denied bond by a Busia court after they denied 12 counts of crime for allegedly kidnapping 10 Kenyan fishermen in Budalangi constituency, Busia County. The 4 were arrested by Kenya Coast Guard on Friday in the Kenyan waters, harassing Kenyan fishermen. The 4 Ugandans, who include Twana Masiko Baram, a Ugandan military officer, Mareka Joseph, Peter Obo, and Mohamed Mwanje, were arrested for torturing Kenyans and taking bribes. The 4 were arraigned before resident magistrate Patrick Olengo, but denied 12 counts, which included being found in Kenya without valid documents, impersonation, attacking people, burglary, among others.
I'll give a ruling on bond application on 10th of January. So for now, remain in custody until 10th of January, when I'll give my ruling whether to release you on bond or not.
The 4 will remain in custody until the 10th of January 2022, when the court will determine their bond terms. We are due for our first break, but don't go away. We still have more news, including some business and also some from the world of sports. And I can see Darling Fly, you are tuned in, and also Desi Terry, you're watching on Facebook. Let's have that break, then we come back.
This must be the map of the cave. Whoever sent to hid all of the money.
What is it that you want, Bernarda?
Well, what else can I say, huh? All right. Who goes first? The little one?
Deborah, no.
Or the bigger one?
The girls are hurt, Deborah. I beg you, they're only children.
You and Victoriano poisoned my son's mind against me. I'm sure that my son now thinks that I'm a murderer. But you know what? With a new trial, I am going to prove that I am innocent.
It's the season of sharing and making merry. And your favorite TV station is here to make your Christmas more memorable. Watch KBC Channel 1 this holiday season and stand a chance of winning thousands of shillings in cash prizes and shopping vouchers. Look out for our trivia questions and get rewarded for answering the questions correctly. KBC Channel 1, giving you 1,000 reasons to be happy.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping it KBC. In other news, dozens of faithful from a different denomination have held their annual pilgrimage, conducting prayers in 7 stopovers facing Mount Kenya to pray for the country. The group, comprising Christians, Muslims, Hindu, Rastafarians, among other faithful from different countries, strongly believe Mount Kenya has spiritual powers to evoke blessing for the people. Take a look.
The pilgrims from different communities, among them Mijikenda, Luo and Somalis, set aside their ethnic and cultural beliefs to pray for the nation in an exercise that brought together cultural leaders and scholars. They made a brief stopover at Samson Corner Junction along the busy Mwea Embu Highway for a prayer session organized by Gikuyu and Mumbi Cultural Museum officials Samuel Kamitha and Ruth Nkesei.
Tunatakana kuwa na utulivu na tufanye kampeni yetu na heshima kwa ajili tuko na viongozi ambao ni MPs, ni governors na ni maseneta na wako kazini na wako ofisini paka leo. Na si ati tuko mkono tupu. Kwa hivyo tuendelee na kampeni zetu na heshima juu kuna wale wako ofisini.
Kamitha said the mountain is at the center of the world, and after paying pilgrim by surrounding it, the country becomes stable. The group has been holding the prayer session since 2008 and intends to continue with the norm, passing it to the future generations.
Kuwahimiza wasiendelee kuhimiza vijana kupigana ati sababu mimi ni kabila fulani, wasilete chuki.
Politician Dr. Jafet Kavinga Kaluyu, who was a 2017 presidential hopeful, said the pilgrim was essential, especially now that the country is heading to elections.
Kenya, every 27th of December, there is always maombi kwa ya amani, na tumeombea amani na tukabarikiwa, na sasa tunataka kwenda ile inaitwa the prayer walk around Mount Kenya.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Zainab Said.
In business, young people are being urged to venture into agribusiness instead of involving themselves with crime and idling. Tana River Governor Dado Godana says the government has invested heavily in farming across the country, urging Kenyans, especially the youth, to take advantage by engaging in farming activities.
People below the age of 25 account for about 60% of the African population, according to official statistics from the United Nations. The agency says there are about 1.8 billion young people between the ages of 10 to 24 in the world. Out of the estimates, Africa is home to over 200 million, and the rate is increasing and is expected to double by 2035. Tana River Governor Dado Godana says the agriculture sector holds high potential in providing job opportunities for the Kenyan youth. The governor says as an economic mainstay of most counties in the country, the sector has the potential to employ the growing number of unemployed young people as skilled and semi-skilled labor.
Wacha hizo shamba vijana wapewe. Komiti hawa vijana wafanye kazi walime. Usiwaache wakae idle.
Tana River County reported that it had received below average rainfall in the month of November 2021, something the county leadership says is due to climate change.
Lakini hawalimi, tinga ziko, mbegu ziko, ardhi iko. Wachimbe visima walime, lakini hawalimi.
Tana River County says it has invested heavily in farm machinery that can be hired to farmers across the county at a relatively lower fee.
Elsewhere, members of Gorgol Water Springs have been urged to complete the necessary requirements to enable them get funds to start water bottling investments. Speaking during an inspection tour of the projects in Ndanai, the Chief Executive Officer, East African Sub-Saharan African Safe Promotions, Bishop Julius Kidome, promised to support the project so that locals can create wealth and employment.
Bishop Kidome said Ndanai water bottling project was a noble venture and locals can benefit immensely as they will require minimal capital for kickoff.
We are very ready to fund it and to stand with them. So that is our commitment from today, and we believe tunaamini ya kwamba Mungu Mwenyezi atatusaidia.
Speaking after touring the project that has been identified for funding by his organization, the bishop called on locals to clear the necessary paperwork for the project to commence.
Tuingie katika hii maji kuwa ni mradi wa income. So sisi kama organization tuko very ready. We only need them to write their proposal na waonyeshe projection yao, na sisi tutakuja mara moja tuweze kuisongeza ifike mahali ambayo inastahili.
Watu wa chini huko wapate kukunywa. Hii maji inaenda na gravity force. Kufika huko kuna tank, alafu hiyo tank inasanya hii maji. Na hii maji sasa inapitishwa, alafu watu wa area hii wanatumia kukunywa na kupea ng'ombe na kutumia kwa.
He said the project has a huge potential that can turn around the economic well-being of the area by not only creating wealth but job opportunities for many young people who have cleared school in the area.
Okay, mahali hapa isambae not even the neighboring counties all over Kenya because water is in demand.
The CEO ES up and mentioned a very important point that we finally convert this water project into a commercial use for the benefit of the society as an income generating activity.
Already the Gorgor water spring that uses gravity has the potential for even supplying piped water to schools and social amenities in the neighboring counties of Narok and Kisii.
Moving on, Maasai leaders have challenged the community to continue conserving the culture while at the same time investing in their children's education. The leaders said education is the key to uplifting the living standards, calling to an end to outdated cultures like female genital mutilation and early marriages for girls that kill their dreams.
Narok Governor Samuel Ole Tunai and his counterpart from Kajiado Joseph Olelenku presided over the colorful graduation ceremony known as the Ilkaramata Rites of Passage that marks transition of Morans entering into adulthood at Manyata Ilmotonyi, Lolgorian ward of Transmara sub-county.
Sisi hatujaacha desturi zetu ambazo tunajua ni muhimu. Desturi muhimu ambaye bado inatupa heshima katika jamii. Sisi tunataka kusihifadhi hizo desturi, mila na desturi.
7,000 such young men were released to begin their families after undergoing lessons from Ilkasaruni elders in an event organized by the Sirisia community.
Leo ni sherehe hawa vijana, unaona ya kwamba wengi ya vijana hawa wamefunga shule na tarehe 2 lazima warudi wote katika shule. Kwa hivyo lazima wajifunze mambo waende shule wasome, na tunajua ya kwamba hapo mwezi wa 3-4 lazima waende wafanye mtihani. Kwa hivyo lazima wasipoteze nafasi sana, lazima warudi wasome kwa shule.
Tunai encouraged the Maasai community to continue conserving the culture while at the same time investing in the education of their children. His sentiment was echoed by Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenku, who said a time has come for the community to unite in all their counties and move together to make sure they have a good decision even in politics.
Kutokana na sheria tuliyopitisha juzi ya Narok Kajiado Economic Block Archive, tutaanza kuunda sheria zingine ya kulete community hii karibu, whether wakiwa Kajiado County ama Nakuru County ama hata Samburu na Narok, tuanze kutengeneza sheria kuhakikisha kwamba hiyo lengo ya economic block imetimia.
Ruth Wamboi for Lunchtime News.
Further afield, Apple has closed all of its 12 New York City stores to indoor shopping as cases of the Omicron coronavirus variant surged across the United States. Apple says that customers will only be able to pick up online orders at the stores. Apple says if the situation worsens, other stores across the U.S. might be closed down. The affected stores so far include outlets at Fifth Avenue, Grand Central, and Soho. Here are the details of this and others from across the globe.
Regularly monitoring the condition and will adjust both its health measures and store services to support the well-being of customers and employees. Apple has recently enforced tighter measures within its outlets and had temporarily closed some stores in the United States and Canada after a rise in COVID-19 cases and exposures among the store's employees. For the same reason, Apple also mandated that all its customers and employees wear masks at its US stores. Globally, concerns over the Omicron variant has prompted major companies to tighten protocols. Meanwhile, there have been more COVID-related flight cancellations globally as the week starts, capping off a miserable festive period for thousands of people. More than 2,200 flights have been scrapped within the week, with Chinese and US destinations being the worst hit. US airlines say the disruption is due to crews testing positive or isolate. Hong Kong is banning all South Korea's Korean Air flights for 2 weeks after positive cases among some arrivals. Airports in Beijing and Shanghai appear to be the worst affected, with nearly 300 cancellations combined. In all, more than 8,000 flights have been grounded over the long Christmas weekend. Finally, Elon Musk is facing a social media backlash after China complained that its space station was forced to avoid collisions with satellites launched by his Starlink Internet Services project. The country's space station had 2 close encounters with Starlink satellites. SpaceX has already launched almost 1,900 satellites as part of the Starlink network and plans to deploy thousands more. Scientists have voiced concerns about the risks of collisions in space and called on world governments to share information about the estimated 30,000 satellites and other space debris that are orbiting the Earth. Reporting for Lunchtime News, my name is Ibak Saeed.
Let's now shift focus to matters sports, where England meekly surrendered the Ashes on the morning of the third day of the third test of Australia